Hi there everyone, and welcome to another Facebook Live from Enterprise in Barnsley. I'm Ben Hawley, one of the business staff advisors at Enterprise in Barnsley, and today we're talking to Tracy Johnson, who's the Digital Media Centre's project manager and all things digital and tech guru for our team and the council in general. So Tracy, just want to quickly introduce yourself, give us a bit of an insight what your day-to-day role is, and just to give people a better idea of who you are.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Ben. Thank you for dragging me onto this after I've managed to sort of stay more or less under the radar for quite some time. So yeah, I'm Tracy and I run the Digital Media Centre and soon also the DMC2 as we're building a second operation. So my role is an interesting one, well, I think, and I'm kind of responsible for all of the things that we do around supporting digital and innovation economy stuff within Enterprise in Barnsley, so supporting the companies in those sectors, but also encouraging companies to think about how they apply technology and adopt more innovative processes as part of their day-to-day sort of working environments as well. So it's quite a big remit in that, and it's very much part of a much bigger team that's all about trying to support businesses in Barnsley to be as successful as possible. Our bit encompasses also the Launchpad startup support service, as well as direct support for all of the companies within the DMC buildings. And we're very fortunate that we get to work on a lot of different projects as well that link back into the DMC and link back to our wider ambitions of creating around the DMC a real digital campus, so working with the college around their digital ambitions, and creating a real sort of buzzy, different kind of place as part of Barnsley's town centre.
Okay, brilliant, fantastic. And you mentioned there some of the projects that you're working at the moment on the digital campus, and we'll touch on that in a bit. But one of the main things we want to talk about today is the Tech Revolution project, or the Tech Rev project. So again, do you want to just give us a bit more information about what the Tech Rev project is and what its aims and ambitions are, and how Barnsley is hoping to benefit from that?
Definitely. So Tech Revolution is it's not a deliberately secret squirrel project, but it's one of those things that probably isn't as widely known about as it could or should be. Barnsley has participated in EU level networks for over 5 years now, focused on growing our digital economy. What those networks, which are led by a programme called URBACT, which is all about bringing cities together to work collaboratively to overcome challenges and address particular opportunities around sort of economic development, social mobility, carbon, all of these different theme areas. Barnsley led a network called Tech Town from 2015 through to 2018, which was all about working with 10 other cities to develop a plan around how we can stimulate a bit more growth within our creative and digital economy and support all the great companies we already have. So develop out, for want of a better, less annoying word, but ecosystem. So that allowed us to develop plans for our digital campus. And it was a really interesting 3 years of quite intensive work at international as well as local level with our key partners and stakeholders, so businesses, education, public sector, private sector, both locally and regionally. Everybody contributed and was really active in developing that plan. We then had the opportunity to bid to lead a further network, which was about transferring some of the things that we do in Barnsley to other cities in the EU. This is a little bit different. The first network we had was more about learning together. This one has been about acknowledging that Barnsley actually has kind of a really good product in Enterprise in Barnsley as a team and a service that works hard to look after companies and has been really effective over the last 10 years. And that the DMC is a key part of that. So having a kind of, if you like, a whole business support infrastructure which is based on relationships. So really getting to know the businesses that we have in the borough. And then having the DMC as part of that, where we create a real destination and a hub, not just for creative and digital companies, but actually for any business, particularly startups as well, to sort of have that touch point with what Enterprise in Barnsley does. So we applied to have that acknowledged as a good practice, which we were successful with, which was great. So that kind of really was a nice acknowledgement that we were doing something right. But I think we very much take the view that you can't sit on your laurels in those certain situations. So by applying to lead the transfer network, we were basically saying, yes, we're happy to share what we've done, but moreover, we want to learn what's happening elsewhere as well and sanity check what our approach is. get some benefit from other cities, and also think about how we improve what we do. So whilst on paper the idea of transfer might feel like we're sort of broadcasting out and being a teacher to other places, that's not really how it's worked in practice. It's been much more about taking the opportunity to be quite reflective and think about the service we offer and think about how we can improve that in quite an agile way. So working like a more innovative, tech startup kind of thing of constantly iterating and developing and challenging ourselves to do more, to do it better, and to do it differently. And it's a really nice experience working with other cities as well. We've worked with 6 cities. We work with Pardubice in Czech Republic, Nyíregyháza in Hungary, Villanova i la Geltrú in Spain, Schiedam in the Netherlands, Piraeus in Greece, and Bacău in Romania. And all of those cities have ambitions to set up or expand their business support type function, but also to, a bit like us, have a kind of DMC tech hub, creative industries hub, whichever you want to call it, as part of their offer. So they're at different stages with that, but the whole network is based on us trying to share what we've done, and then us collectively to kind of think about how can that work in other places as well. How can we share the good lessons, but how can we learn the things that we don't already all know together, really? So it's a really interesting journey, but admittedly sometimes feels a little bit hidden from day-to-day operations, because it's about a sort of a distributed network of people that aren't necessarily, hugely local in Barnsley, but the whole Enterprise in Barnsley team, our stakeholders that helped us in the first network, are a key part of this network too, and we try to get them involved as much as possible.
Yeah, okay, brilliant. So obviously we're talking about TechRev at the moment, and the Tech Town project led into this as well. So obviously saying this is kind of maybe a bit under the radar, but obviously, we both know that there are some real big outputs from certainly the first iterations through the Tech Town project and also the TechRev project as well. So what is the actual impact that people can see on the ground it's having in Barnsley? What kind of other projects and ideas have spun out from this?
There's a lot, and I think there's probably a lot that we're not tracking. Tracking and tracing, that's a very COVID-related phrase, isn't it?
Very meta.
I think there's been such a broad range of positive impacts from being involved in this project, and sometimes you need to sort of helicopter out a little bit to understand where they are. I think that's for some of our people that have been involved, whether they're from our team or from companies or from other agencies, even other local authorities in some cases, that have been involved in some of the international meetings that we've had, what that's given them as individuals, so really thinking about the individual level, is an opportunity to think differently about their own work opportunities and environments, think very differently about Barnsley, and to really contribute to a new way of doing things here. And so I think there's a real personal benefit. I mean, me personally, I've had huge sort of benefit from this. It's kind of like continued professional development, because there's nothing like challenging yourself to stand up in front of a room full of hungry people from cities across the EU that kind of sit there with a notebook wanting to know exactly what you're doing, to build your confidence and your stamina and your resilience. Sadly, it hasn't built my language skills. English is all right, the rest of it's still a bit ropey. But then at the other end of the spectrum, what we've been able to do by really sort of involving everybody in the thinking and the planning, and literally sitting down in a room with everybody with pipe cleaners and stickers and coloured pens, and designing what our vision of a digital campus could be, we've been able to take that, develop it into kind of real sort of practice-led strategy, if you like, for want of a bit of a public sector-y side kind of phrase. But by having that real evidence space and that sort of coalition of the willing behind it, we've leveraged significant amounts of money to both acquire and refurbish DMC2. We've been able to think differently about how we do business. One of the things I think that's had the biggest ongoing impact is a chance for us as Enterprise in Barnsley to do something we very rarely get the chance to do because we're so busy delivering, was to sit in a room and say kind of, where did we start? How did we get here? Where are we going? And that's such an important thing for any organisation to be able to do. So there's a real cultural benefit for the team itself within that. say I'm really proud that, you know, team members have had an opportunity to do things that they probably wouldn't have done otherwise. You've been to Singapore, Ben, as a result of the project,
Yes.
which isn't in the EU as far as I'm aware, but you never know, times are changing.
Well, exactly. But yeah, that was an interesting experience, certainly from my personal development point of view, and again, learning what they're doing out there in their tech sector and how we can bring that back to Barnsley and the region as well. So yeah, it's been interesting that side of things, and it has opened up a lot of opportunities, and there's been a lot of people that we've met and learnt a lot of other things coming through from that, definitely.
And I think as well that kind of what all that coalesces into is our next steps as Barnsley. And like I say, there's one thing in, you know, it's brilliant that we've got investment from Sheffield City region in particular in supporting the development of DMC2. We've also got a collaborative project with Sheffield Hallam University that will help to fit out our makerspace in DMC2. So, you know, those partnerships and the money as well that comes with that are really, really powerful and important. What I think for me is a couple of the real big outcomes is Barnsley College have worked so closely with us on this and have really challenged themselves and have now got huge ambitions around digital. They've leveraged significant investment from government around developing a digital hub as part of their portfolio of spaces, and that will allow them to really sort of deliver a completely different kind of curriculum. They've been forced to do that anyway, being forced to use different channels to deliver their curriculum recently, but they're really looking at what they can do to support that next generation of tech entrepreneurs, software developers, people working in industries like the ones that we see in the DMC, but also to kind of make sure that every single student that goes through that college has a touch point with digital learning and digital skills, which is massive. And that's all part of this digital campus, which is both a kind of physical space, sort of defined by the courthouse sort of car park area, but also this kind of relationship network, this sort of virtual digital campus of connectivity where it's messy and it's, you know, a bit challenging, there's politics involved and stuff, but partnership working is always like that, and the best partnership working should be a bit messy, and it should have room for open discussion and frank exchanges and stuff. But we've already proved that if we do that, we can leverage the investment in the infrastructure to help us do the really good things for the people in Barnsley. And this for me is where I think one of the most powerful things we'll have is we have, it's public sector speak, but it's inclusive knowledge economy strategy for Barnsley. What that means in layman's terms is that the DMC and the digital campus should never be an ivory tower. It's got to link more closely with what the opportunities are within our wider communities. Nobody should feel that they can't come into the DMC. Obviously, you can't right now, COVID, you know, yeah. But generally speaking, we want to be an open and welcoming destination for people to engage with technology, with digital industries, with creative industries, with business generally. So to do that, we've really got to challenge how things are done and make sure that we hold ourselves accountable to doing that. And I think that's going to be the real legacy of the work that we've done. We've really got that within our control now to be able to start to do things very, very differently. I think we do an okay job already, but there's far too many people who've never been in the DMC and don't feel like it's for them. So we really got to overcome that and take the DMC and the digital campus out there and have some fun with it, really. But then also build our relationships more broadly than that. We've got amazing relationships outside of the region as well as within the region. And all of that brings massive benefit to bear on Barnsley, our communities, our viability, our potential for growing jobs and businesses. So the inclusive knowledge economy plans will really help us to make that better Barnsley that we all want. And actually, I think, you know, we're doing a good job of leading on some of that agenda. We're challenging, you know, I use the phrase occasionally that we're like the annoying Yorkshire Terrier around other people's ankles, because we kind of have we just want to get stuff done attitude. And I think that's one of the most powerful things we've got. And that's, you know, coming back to the whole network side of things with Tech Revolution, that's what we've tried to share. You can build a building, but it's just a building, it's just bricks and mortar. It's what you do with it. And just like a website is all about the content, you know, buildings like the DMC are all about what happens in there. And I think that's our opportunity to really stand out, is what happens in there can be really, really special, I think. And with DMC2, with more socially distanced co-working space, larger offices and a maker space that links to lots of other facilities, in the region as well, such as at the University of Sheffield and Advanced Manufacturing Research Centre. These trickles of connectivity, this adds so much to what we do in Barnsley, and I hope will help us to just achieve that real powerful link more with our communities.
I think what's really special for me about the Tech Town and the Tech Rev projects and the plans that have come out of them is it's not just been written by us. We've actually gone out and we've got the stakeholders involved. So we've got the local working group who, you know, we bring together stakeholders from the college, from the private sector, from other areas of the public sector, and we're actually getting everyone's input. So it is actually a plan going forward that is open to everyone. It's not just, well, this is what we think is the case. You know, this has been developed over a number of years, and all the stakeholders have bought into it as well. So I think that's really, really good. Now, obviously, we talked about the digital campus, and that's you mentioned that's going to be roughly the footprint of the courthouse car park in a physical space, and also the connection side of things as well. And the DMC's at the heart of that, because that's where we're currently based at the moment. And obviously, we've got the DMC2 coming on. So do you want to tell us a bit more about some of the ideas for the campus as a whole and where we are with the DMC2? And again, what people can be looking forward to when that building opens?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, again, it's a little bit invisible because things are car parking right now, and people shouldn't be alarmed. The car parking is not disappearing. But what Digital Campus gives us, let's say there's a kind of I suppose, a hard and a soft element to it. And part of it is about the continued regeneration of Barnsley Town Centre. It's not a thing happening in isolation. It's hugely linked with the massive works that have been underway at town centre level around the markets and leisure facilities, all of which will continue. And, you know, we'll see a different landscape as a result of the current situation with COVID. But I think there's a huge willingness for these things to be successful and for Barnsley as a place to be a real destination. And the digital campus will be a huge part of that as well, because, you know, there'll be an increased range of retail and leisure facilities, restaurants, bars, that kind of lifestyle opportunity that actually the people that come and work in the businesses that are based in the DMCs will need to come and spend their money in. So there's, you know, a brilliant opportunity for us to increase the footfall into the town centre there. And we really want to create a destination that's lively, that's bright, that's really focused on being somewhere that any digital people, digital businesses and digital ideas can be successful. So, you know, it's about creating the facilities like DMC 1 and 2, the college, maybe even a DMC 3 at some point. It's going to be about trying to look at some sort of residential opportunity, lifestyle and leisure opportunities within the campus as well, and just expanding that kind of town centre environment into something even more special. Also, you know, linking into the transport interchange as well, so we're connected to other places. I mean, one hopes that at some point trains might improve as well, so you know, you're not feeling like you're travelling in a bean can from Sheffield and Leeds into Barnsley. But that's, you know, we can't fix everything.
But you know, time, Tracy.
But it's a brilliant opportunity. You know, the build side of it, the infrastructure side is still at early stages. There's a lot of planning work still to be done. But I think that if nothing else were to happen, and I'm sure it will, but if nothing else were to happen right now, the fact that we've got a successful DMC, an upcoming DMC2 that will open in hopefully sort of latter part of the summer, and that we've got the college, which will hopefully open in September as well, where they're also going to be hosting a pilot year of the new T levels for digital, which are a technical version of A levels, so quite a big shift in terms of how education is delivered. That in itself is a campus of sorts. And then, you know, as you said, Ben, this powerful coming together of people and businesses and partners and public sector and private sector and all these different things to kind of really will on the success of this place is huge opportunity for us. It's, you know, the phrase sort of co-creation is used quite often badly, in that it's somebody comes up with an idea and they consult with a few people, and because they added a red dot here or a blue line there, it's considered co-creation. A lot of this has genuinely come from the ground up. It's come from people with clever minds getting together in a room and being creative, and so getting the colouring pens out, and that's what will cement it in being part of Barnsley moving forward. This isn't a vanity project for anybody. This is genuinely about a gear shift in terms of what Barnsley can do. So it's hugely exciting that we get to open a second DMC. And I'm really looking forward to kind of getting in there and seeing what it looks like sort of in the flesh, because we've been away from there for 2 months now, and there's so much progress being made.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking forward to getting back around there as well. But I think the real exciting thing for me is, like you touched on before, it's not just for businesses. It is literally, the idea is going to be anyone in Barnsley can walk through the doors and improve their digital savviness. You know, whether you know how to, where you're fairly savvy on computers, you want to learn how to start doing coding or whatever, there's going to be something in there. If you want to get into 3D printing or rapid prototyping, as it's officially called, or laser cutting or whatever, there's going to be a facility there to help anyone move their journey forward and actually really get some tangible benefits. And again, that then in turn is going to bring in higher education and skill levels in the town and create more and better jobs, which is ultimately what the end goal is all about.
Absolutely. So and building that community as well, a community within a community that people can plug into and step out of if they want to. But, you know, adding to things like the library space that's been really well designed, but just, you know, creating those really interesting touch points. But at the end of the day, the community is crucial. It comes down to people. And I think what we've seen over the last 8 weeks is a massive channel shift in terms of people's digital adoption. You know, the people that had avoided having to use Zoom and WhatsApp and everything previously have been forced into using it. Actually, it falls on us as the campus to kind of be the conduit through which we can maintain some of the more positive bits of that and ensure that then we can focus on the really valuable stuff when we're interacting face to face, and bring that sort of personality to bear on everything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, I'm massively looking forward to the makerspace. I think that's going to be fantastic. The fact we basically, here's an amount of money, go and acquire all the kit, was one of my favourite things to do recently. So I'll have one of them. Great fun. And I genuinely think this is going to be a real opportunity, because one of the benefits this is going to bring is the fact businesses, you know, one thing we've always said in the DMC, you get the serendipitous meetings where you kind of get two businesses either queuing at the coffee cart or in the lifts, wherever it might be, and they have a chat and something spins out of that. That's great. But now it's going to have the extra layer on that, where they kind of go, well, actually, we've got this idea for a product, we need a physical thing. And now there'll be the abilities for them to go, this is what we need. And again, that's something we can help deliver for them. So again, it's creating those new ideas and creating better other opportunities for people as well.
Absolutely. And I think it really does make good on all the promise that we have. You know, you're right when you say that one of the powers of the DMC is about serendipity that we can help create, whether it's, you know, having the amazing Julie serving everybody caffeine and just being that kind of real cornerstone of the community, through to just having the right places and spaces in the building. You know, those things are what powers us, and expanding that into DMC2, you know, the co-working space is going to be really, really interesting, sort of non-hierarchical space with a really kind of almost invisible reception function, so that you're embedded, you're part of that community of people. It needs to be the place where people can come to connect with all levels of knowledge, experience, and kind of suppliers as well, you know, supply chain, and find the support and the advice that they need. And I think, you know, infusing all of that is the enthusiasm and buy-in of our team. And that's one of the, I think, you know, the things I always end up reflecting that I'm most proud of is the amazing people that I get to work with, both in our immediate team and our extended sort of partnership team. But the DMC community, both the people that, you know, pay their rent and come and be based in the building, as well as that sort of extended community that we have, they're our superpower. You know, that's what's going to really fuel whatever we do. Buildings can be lovely, and, you know, well designed, beautiful architectural buildings are fantastic, but it will always come back to what we do in them. And I think that we've got the opportunity to really make even more visible some of the great stuff that's been going on, both within the team, through the services we directly deliver, through projects like IoT Tribe, where we've sort of helicoptered in 8 to 10 sort of Internet of Things startups from all over the world, you know, from Colombia, Poland, Turkey, to land in the DMC and in Barnsley for, in some cases, quite a bewildering 12-week experience of navigating how we do things in Barnsley. But, you know, all of that just is going to become much more visible, and that's brilliant, because that makes good on all the huge amount of hard work that everybody's put in, the massive commitment at all levels as well, from people within our community through to actually senior management and politicians within Barnsley and Sheffield City region saying, actually what you're doing in Barnsley is good and can be built on, and you can scale it up, and here's the support to help you do that, and giving us that seat around the table to have that voice and influence, to work in partnership with organisations in London and overseas. That's kind of a brilliant thing that we've got in our grasp, and sort of once we're kind of back into buildings at least, making good on all of that promise is going to be just such an exciting few years ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So I suppose we've given a really good overview of what's going on at the moment in the DMC, DMC2, the campus and the tech rev groups and everything else. I suppose the final real question that people might have is, how can they get involved? How can they help, put their viewpoints forward into terms of what's going to be developed, and how can they have their say in things going forwards?
Well, there's lots of ways. I mean, this is one of the things that it always makes it harder to manage, but it's essential that you have as many sort of touch points as possible. The Tech Town group, which the Tech Town group was quite determined to keep the Tech Town name, despite the fact that our project name has changed to Tech Revolution. We'll not go there, it's too complicated. But that is a meetup of sorts, a meetup of minds of lots of different people. The membership can change, and it does, but we try to make that a knowledge exchange opportunity. So we do updates about what everybody's doing, what interesting projects are coming up, as well as what challenges might be ahead. We've done some work about bringing together representatives from different makerspaces as an extension of that as well. So the Tech Town group is something that we can get involved in, and we'll be looking at putting out a schedule of the meetups as soon as we can, probably from sort of next month or the month after onwards. Also, just getting in touch via the DMC website as well, and via our social media. We're always happy to receive ideas and messages that way. We try to keep a kind of open door and open mind approach with everything we do at DMC. So, we're always open to ideas and suggestions, and we'd far rather people shared ideas or frustrations or challenges with us. So if there's a problem, we can try and fix it. If there's challenges, we can help people overcome them. And if there's opportunities, then we can have a go. I think we're quite good at having a go, throwing a few things at the wall and see what sticks. That sort of, there's a risk appetite, mitigated risk appetite, but a risk appetite nonetheless that allows us to do that. So many different ways, or just emailing me directly, tracyjohnson@barnsley.gov.uk. I'd love to say that I'd be lurking around the DMC, but I'm not going to be there for a little while. But we're happy to widen our discussions. We're happy to hear ideas and make sure that everybody feels like they can be part of what we're doing. On a more practical level, as Ben well knows, we're working on developing a kind of membership approach so that people can become part of our DMC community, even if they're not necessarily based in the building, and plug into everything that's amazing and special about being a DMCer.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic. Well, thank you for that, Tracy, much appreciated. We have put links in the comment section on all the 3 pages we're broadcasting this live on. So that's the Enterprise in Barnsley page, the Launchpad Barnsley page, and the Digital Media Centre page. So on there, you've got the link to the TechRev Twitter account, following the network on LinkedIn as well, so the company page on there, as well as the entry for the Tech Revolution project on the URBAC website. And also, if you want to see a bit more what's going on in the DMC2 or what's going to be planned for the DMC2, there's a link there to the web page on the Digital Media Centre website with a bit of a fly through of what the finished product will look like. So thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate your time as well, Trace. Thank you for coming on and talking us through everything that's going on. Really exciting times, and as I say, I can't wait to get back into the DMC2 and see what's going on with things. Hope to see you again soon, and we'll do another Facebook Live shortly. Take care. Thank you very much.